Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all again, and wish you all a happy Pongal. It's an auspicious day, a joyous day, very important for everyone in India, South Indian, North Indian. It's the harvest festival, it's a day of bounty, season of bounty, in fact. So it's a good occasion to start the year, especially as how we know 2020 had been for the most of us who had been in lockdown, restricted. Yeah, so I thought that I would speak about Ashtamasani in a more in-depth manner for my fellow Mithuna Raasi uh, natives, or Gemini in the English zodiac system. Mithunam is actually Gemini. So as Sunny has moved into the 8th house from Mithunam, naturally, since a few months ago, I've been getting a lot of calls from Mithuna Raasi natives. Naturally, they are experiencing Ashtamasani. And I have been thinking of doing this video, and I think that timing-wise, it's very, very correct. It's very profound to do it now and on such a joyous day. So, without holding you back, I'm going to show you an in-depth analysis of Ashtamasani for Mithunam. So here we go. Let's have a look at the slide. All right, everyone. So I'm about to start with the slide pack. So there would be several elements to getting into an in-depth study. As you all know that astrology is very, very scientific, actually. There's a logical flow to it. So I will take you through the main overview of it. I'm not going to go through the subtopics or subtext for each of the main topics I'm going to talk about, but just to give you an overview of how do you see or signify that a Gemini native or a Mithuna Raasi native is actually experiencing hardship right now. In fact, from roughly March 2020 till December 2022, roughly 2.5 years is how Sunny Swaran or Sunny Saturn would dominate in Ashtamasani situation. So yeah, we do see astrologers do see that the current natives who are experiencing issues are those of the Mithuna Rasi. So what I'm going to talk about is 4 segments to it. Let me get my laser pointer. Yeah, 4 segments to it. The first one is going to revisit the nature of Sunny or the nature of Saturn as a planet and as a significator of past karma, past lives karma, to be accurate. So we're going to look at Sunny Swaran again. Then we're going to have an orientation or a configuration study of the house of Mithunam or the Rasi Mithunam, which is actually Gemini. So we're going to go into what is the representation of it, what are the tasks involved in Mithunam. As we know that the Vedic astrological chart, 12 houses, and the first house is your Lagna, the 12th house is the final things in your life, including death, your aspirations that are unfulfilled, they're just hanging in the air, and that's all 12th house. Your feet, as in the physical representation, 12th house. So we know there's houses 1 to 12. One of them definitely have to be Mithunam or Gemini. What does Gemini actually represent for you? Then we have to look at Ashtamasani in itself. And to see what kind of hold it has on Mithunam, that would be the last segment of it, the end results of the effects of Saturn in Ashtamasani setting for Mithuna Raasi. So to look at the end result is where we are headed, right? Because my fellow friends of the Mithuna Raasi, they are actually at a loss as to why not some, a whole lot of negatives are happening for them right now in their lives. So just to give them a heads up of what they can expect and a scientific view of how it has come up to this situation. So naturally, we have to go through sequence 1, 2, and 3, and then we would be able to understand the end result, item number 4, in a very effective manner. So this is what I'm trying to investigate. First off, item number 1. What is Saturn? What is Sani or Saniswaran? I've mentioned before, Saturn, obviously it is tangible. It's a real planet. It's a tangible planet in our solar system, right? It is the last planet in the solar system which receives the light of the sun, the sunlight, in a way that the planet experiences daytime, nighttime. Obviously, it is not 12 hours or so like daylight for Earth, 12 hours or so nighttime. If you are in the equator of our planet, it's not going to be hours. In Saturn, it takes years, months or years, in fact, to experience a day, and months and years for night, depending on the apogee and the closeness of the planet Saturn. So Saturn has been included in the astrological chart because it has daytime, nighttime. So that much is clear. That is why the planets beyond Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, Uranus, is not part of it. There is no daytime, nighttime. Sunlight hits those planets in a photon hitting in such a way that it's just a dull impact, such as the stars we see from our planet Earth. Those light doesn't really create daytime or nighttime for us. So you can use that as a kind of like a guideline. So what does Sani represent in a positive, if it is positively placed in your chart, right? I mean, every planet in our chart, from the Sun to Venus to Mars, Jupiter, Saturn inclusive, have got good traits and bad traits. No planet is 100% good, no planet is 100% bad. It all depends on the placement in your chart, who is looking at those planets, drishti, whether it's a friend or a foe, which house placement it is in, friend or foe again. If it is in a positive situation in your chart, Sani would create a structure for you. You are a very structured person. You like to keep a diary, for instance. You follow a plan, you have a schedule, timetable for your day, right? So you are a very structured person. Obviously, in order to be structured, you need to have a very high sense of discipline, right? It's very difficult to shake you from your routine. So you're routine oriented, right? You do not like to deviate from your routine. You are very focused, single-mindedness. Sani, such as it is as a planet, Sani is the oldest planet in the astrological system, so it is represented by an old person, not an old man or an old woman. It is genderless. There is no gender for Sani. Whether you're an old man or an old woman, your effects of life at such an age, let's say you're 90-year-old, Sani's world. Just imagine, Sani is represented by a 90-year-old person. Whether you're a female or a male, you would experience the same thing at 90. What are those? Pain, joint aches, tiredness. You feel like sleeping all the time, very slow movement, right? If you sit down in your seat or your sofa, it's very hard to get up. You need a walking stick, regardless whether you're male or female. So Sani is an elderly person, right? So elderly persons, they've got a very high sense of focus. They do not like to have fun. So there is also self-restraint. They know how to pull back from things that is deviant from their focus, right? If it's not helping them to get into their end result, they do not go that way. Time dependence, they are very time conscious or they're time oriented. Something were to start at 8, they'll be there at 7:45 waiting. They do not come at 8:01, not at all. They rather be before than after. That if it's positively placed. Negatively placed, because the chances of Sun being placed in your chart is most likely. Now, for the general population, it is negatively placed. So what do you get? You have a high sense of morose. You feel gloom, the world in a dark way. Remember, Sunny all activates in everyone's chart roughly around 35 to 40 years old. So around 35, your view of life is very morose, very dark, very difficult. You seem like your life has suddenly become so difficult at 35, and evidently so when you have Ashtamasani. You would be a cruel person because you don't feel an emotional bond with people. Sunny is a worker. It's like a slave, representation of a slave. Slaves beaten, trashed. I mean, I'm talking about slaves of those days. If you know the mythological stories, slaves are being used for hard labor and no sense or very low sense of emotion. One of the other negatives is they get jealous of other people very quickly, and you would most likely see that natives who are Capricorn or Aquarius, Lagna people, most of them have got a very high sense of jealousy. They are resource poor in the sense that resources for their own well-being, whether it's money, capital, whether it's a skill, whether it's a positive trait, positive character that will help them to grow in life, they do not have any of that. So they are resource poor. They are restricted in many ways, restricted in their mindset, restricted in their capabilities, family support. Maybe they are from a poor background. So you get the picture that restricted in moving forward. They have a very high sense of being fraudulent. They like to cheat people. They like to take shortcuts in life, right? So we know in the Kali Yuga, in the current epoch we are in, most of the time we see this. We do see these people as well, and you can readily understand that these are the characteristics of someone in the armed forces, maybe. Sunny is a very good agent for the armed forces. Of course, for being in the armed forces, you need to tie it with Survey or Mars. Mars represents a uniform body, armed forces, armaments, weapons. So you need to tie it with Sunny to being in the armed forces in a very positive way. Anyway, just to give you an idea of the planet. Now we are coming to the second part of our analysis, investigating into what actually is Mithuna Raasi. So I have here a few charts to depict what it is. Mithunam is here. This is the house of Mithunam. And when we say Mithuna Raasi, right, that means the moon is placed in this house. And moon takes on this being the Rasi house, or we call it the first house. From the moon's point of view, remember that Lagna is actually the first house, but in terms of Ashtamasani, you always have to look at the moon, and 8 houses from the moon is where Ashtamasani actually happens. But those who are born in their chart, if you were to look at their birth chart, moon being in this place, these natives from last year, March, April onwards, 2020 April, they have been experiencing Ashtamasani. So Mercury's house are actually the top right and the bottom right. It is naturally owned by Mercury, right? But the moon is here for Mithunam, right? What are the characteristics of Mithunam? Well, this house, the first house where the moon is, Mithuna Raasi, it's a male house, it's masculine, right? So we know that from the Kala Chakram, it starts with Aries or Mesha Rasi here. So Mesham, male, Rishabham, female, then male, Mithunam, Kadagam, female. So it goes on in sequence. So this naturally has become male. So it's a masculine house. So energies of masculinity is here. As per the 5 elements or the Panjabhutam, right? But in our charts, we'll only have 4. There is another video I talk about the 5 elements of our natal chart or the astrology chart, and why there is 4 instead of the 5, which is earth, water, fire, and air, right? So space or Akash doesn't come in the 5 anyway. There is another video on that. That is a whole different subject matter. Air is represented by this house. It's a Dvibhaya Rasi or dual, right? As opposed to Aries is a movable house. That means persons born here is a very energetic, it's a fiery house, movable house. People do not like to stay still here. Rishabham is exact opposite to this. This is fixed house. So movable, fixed. And what does that fixed mean? They like to stay stationary in one place. They don't like to go out. You know, they are very indoors oriented person. Dual, yeah, means you can naturally imagine it's the mixture or a good mix, balance of this and this, balance of movable and fixed, and then you get dual. So this is movable, fixed, dual, movable, fixed, dual. So you can see that dual happens at the corners, right? Dvibhaya Rasi, corners. So this is masculine, this is air, this is Ubhaya Rasi, dual, and it represents innate knowledge. Remember, Mercury owns this house and this house. Mercury as a planet represents knowledge, communication, understanding of a subject. Innate knowledge. This is knowledge that you are born with. You know, you may have a very good intuition. You may have a very good sense of music or mathematics. Numbers come very easily for you, right? So what you are born with, innate, within you, that knowledge is here. This Mercury house, right, Kanni Rasi, right, or Virgo, the Virgin, female house, it represents learned knowledge, knowledge that you gain through education, through books, throughout your life, university education, right? Like medicine, learning medicine, you must have a very, very strong house here to have a book knowledge, bookish knowledge. But this, you have a very good sense of a feeling of the world. You understand street smarts, right? You understand how the world works, which is good by itself when you have a very good artistic sense. So that's Mithunam. So characteristics have been explained, and you can always refer to this video again and again as you please. So Ashtamasani happens here. Right now, Sani, okay, not right now, as in January 2020, last year, January 24th. 24th January 2020, Sani has come to this house, 8 houses away from the moon, if you were to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sani is here. Ashtama means 8, right? 8th house from the moon. If you were to recall, the moon represents the mind, amongst other things. Is your mental strength, your mental capability. And remember also, the other aspect of astrology, 8th house is a Dustana house, which is a negative house, malefic. 6, 8, and 12. 8th house is the worst of the Dustana, right? The worst of the malefic houses. And it's definitely going to affect the mind. So Sani in the 8th house, Ashtamasani, is currently affecting Mithuna Raasi. Remember, I've experienced people who are in this house, Taurus. Just imagine Moon was here and Sani was in this house, 8th house from Rishabham. Rishabha Rasi natives have been experiencing a severe Ashtamasani for the years 2017, 2018, 2019. Really trashed them, brought them down to their knees, in fact. So 2017, 2018, 2019, I've been having a lot of calls from Rishabham. Now, naturally, I have a lot of calls from Mithuna Raasi, Gemini natives. I do see it happening. In fact, I had a call last week, Saturday, and that person was having trouble with work. Naturally, Ashtamasani is what is causing this. So I told that person that that is what is happening and it's going to stay on till the next 2 years. Sani is in Makaram, which is Capricorn, this house. What is Capricorn, the representation of Capricorn? Earlier I spoke about representation here of Mithuna. Let's look at Capricorn. Capricorn is a feminine house. The Panchabhudam, or the 5 elements, is land or earth, the ground, as in Mother Earth, right? Bhumi Devi. It's a Sararasi. It's movable, right? Remember, this was dual. This is a movable, so it's very energetic. But it's directly opposite to the nature of Sani. Sani is a lethargic, slow-moving planet. It doesn't like being here. It's his own house, though. Sani owns this house and this house. You remember I said Mercury owns naturally this house. He's the house owner. These are the tenant. So this is the landlord, Mercury. The tenancy is taken up by Moon. So you have to see in astrology, tenancy and landlord, whether they are friends, enemies, what kind of energy they share, are they comfortable with each other. Sani is a weird planet in that sense. This is his own house. He is the landlord. He is the tenant here in the 8th house. But he doesn't feel comfortable because this is a movable planet. Sani doesn't like to move. Sani is a slow-moving planet. He is a bounded planet. You remember, at the start of your Ashtamasani, I'm just giving you a heads up. Mithuna Raasi natives, sometime last year you would have had an accident, you would have had a leg sprain, knee pain, something that would have slowed you down. That is the representation, is the indication rather, that Sani has taken hold of you. Right, so Sani slows you down. So this is a movable house. What does this house represent? Boundedness, limit. But again, limit, but there is very high energy of moving, of motion. So how does that work? Not very well. It's like you have a very big boulder and you are applying a huge amount of force to push the boulder. So there is some strain happening. So Sani doesn't really like its own house here. It loves this house. The next house it owns. Sani is the only planet that owns two houses side by side. Right? So you can think of this as one big house broken into two, separated by a wall. But this house, not so much. It is eager to get here. That's one part of it. Sani, sitting here in the 8th house, he looks at the 2nd house naturally. All planets look at the 7th house away. So the drishti is 7 houses. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from itself. Right? 7 is directly opposite here. All planets have the 7th house drishti. Sani has got special drishti. Sani also looks at 3, house number 3. So it's 1, 2, 3. It looks at here. It looks at house number 10 as well. So Sani has got 3, 7, 10. 3, 7, 10. But Ashtamasani has a very, very special focus on the 2nd house, from the moon, that is. Right? Remember, Ashtamasani is designed to give you mental stress. The moon represents mind, so naturally its target is this. Looking at the 2nd house from the moon, what does 2nd house naturally represent? Income capabilities, wealth. You will start losing money. You may lose your job. You may not get your promotion. Family life is also house number 2. It impacts spouses, children, misunderstanding between yourself and your spouse. Speech would be impacted, meaning that people do not listen to you anymore. You would have a confidence problem. What you thought that was very doable and very easy for you has proved to be very difficult and challenging during Ashtamasani. Outward organizations are also represented by 2nd house, like what? Authorities, the police, courts, legal entities, regulatory bodies, right? Passport office, for example. Yeah, all of that is going to be impacted. Sani is looking at this. It's going to create a limit. So limit to your income, limit to your wealth, limit to family life, to your confidence, to authorities. So let's look at them in depth. 2nd house representation is Kadagam, Cancer, which is represented by a crab. So I've mentioned about characteristics of this house, characteristics of this house. Now we're looking at this Kadagam. And then we can compare and we can arrive at a very, very logical view of your Ashtamasani. This house is a feminine house. So we know this is masculine. The next house would be the sequence of feminine, represented by water. This house naturally owned by the moon. So the moon is 12 houses away from its own house. How do I know it's 12 houses? Own house. Remember, we should always go clockwise. We do not go counterclockwise. Except for Rahu Ketu, they go in retrograde motion. So this is moon's natural house. He's the landlord. But tenancy is taken 12 houses away. So you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 houses, house of loss. So losses. It lost its own house. It really feels sad to be here. And remember, moon also represents mother. So that's why this is feminine. This is moon's natural house. Feminine, water. The moon is a beautiful planet. We have many poetries about the moon, many songs about the moon. Represents motherhood, feminine, beauty. And so we say that those days there were poetry about water running on the moon from the 5 elements. So this is air, this is water, this is a Sara Rasi. also just like this. Saturn Rasi, movable, Saturn Rasi, movable. So it's looking at like a nexus connection. Represents emotion. Remember, this is mother, female, water, and of course, emotional energy is what is represented here. So when Sani is looking at this, naturally, he's going to hit on your emotions, right? He is going to limit your good emotions. So he's going to give you a lot of negative, malefic emotions. So that is naturally what is happening to Mithuna Rasi natives anyway. I want to bring to attention this water element here. Right, this is the highlight of my analysis. Going back to the slide earlier, when I was talking about Makaram, Capricorn, what is this element? Land, earth, right? This is land, is the element. This is water. Going back a slide, this is water. So naturally, the net effect is muddiness or mud. Why is that? Because I'm mixing land and water. If I were to go back a slide, land here, water here. If you were to pour water on the soil, on the ground, naturally, what do you get? You get mud, right? It's a clay that is mixed in moisture. So you get an idea about the energies that is coming out of this. So when you say muddiness, what do we think of? Murkiness, right? You are not clear about what is at the base of the soil. You can't see beyond it. It's dark, brown, dirt oriented, right? So the energies are kind of like that for Mithuna Rasi natives right now. You're uncertain. So this is the net effect. So let's talk about what actually is happening to you guys right now. Muddiness is the end result of it all. So Mithunam, Gemini representation is, the symbolic representation is a twin, male and female. So you'll have a twin mind. Remember, moon is in Gemini. Instead of one mind, you've got twin mind. And it's not twin mind which is positive. One is positive, one is negative. So you're filled with doubt, right? You are not sure what you want. And remember, it's not even twins of the same sex. They are twins of different sexes, male, female. The representation, I mean. So you would be thinking about what is good for one gender may not be good for the other. So you're always in turmoil. You cannot ascertain what it is you want. You're forever two-minded during Ashtamasani for Mithunam. It will impact on your work, on your income capabilities. You may lose your job. You may not get bonus. Your salary may drop to half. Whatever it is, but definitely impact on second house, as we saw, impacting on your income. You do not have focus, completely distraught. You want to try everything. A friend comes by your house on Sunday for lunch, talks about investment in something, share market, in a new business venture. You have no idea what it is, but you want to try it because you're not focused. Every idea seems like a good idea to you. And that is going to be disastrous because you're now two-minded. You're not listening to people. Remember, it also impacts your family right now. So your spouse has got no control or not much say over you. So you're going to do things your way. And you're going to be so sure of yourself that you're going to have a sense of cockiness about you. And you're going to make mistakes. And you're going to lose more money. You're going to get difficulties from the opposite sex. Difficulties may not be hindrances, may not be attention from them. It's just that if you were to notice who is giving you problems at work, problems in your social circle, community, most likely it'll be the other gender. Just have a look. Just note it down. No effect of speech, right? Second house, I've mentioned it's speech. What does effect of speech means? People who have come to you for advice in the past are not coming to you. In fact, they don't even believe you anymore. They are not listening to you. They just left you in the darkness, right? You have no idea why your words have got no impact anymore. And because of that, self-confidence is hindered and impacted. It's very low. Sometimes it doesn't exist. And it eats you into your soul, right? You feel tired all the time. Sani is in his own house, remember. Movable energy is there. Sani doesn't like to move. So it's trying to be lethargic, trying to make you sleep in your bed as long as possible. You get up in the morning. You don't like the sunlight. You want to be under the covers, right? These are all the natural impacts you may face. You want to stay under the covers. You like the darkness. So by the time you actually get out of bed, it'll be 10, 11 o'clock morning. And even then, you don't feel rested. You feel very tired. You do not know how to say no to people. You can't say no, and you take everything into your plate and you create a disaster for yourself, right? Because you know, since you have lost your effect of speech, you think that you want to help or assist others, right? Because they're not listening to you. Maybe you want to do something, you know, have an action with your friends or your family, relatives, and excuse me, and naturally it doesn't really help because you're going to fail in whatever it is that you're taking up, right? It's going to be a huge problem for you because this venture you're going to take from whoever, from your boss, from your family, from your spouse, from your friends, it's going to fail and they're going to look at you in a very negative light. So my Mithuna Raasi clients and friends, this is what you're actually facing. Look through this video again, pause, create some notes, see how the energies are working out for you. So what can you do? What are the remedies? Well, just let it ride out. You're already almost a year in. This impact is for 3 years. Ashtamasani for Mithunam, 3 years. 1 year is done. You got to balance 2 more years, 2021, 2022, the whole year, 21, 22. So up till December next year, just ride it. Take things slow. Do not get angry. Be prudent with your spending. Be careful with your words. If you have to say no, just say no. Learn how to say no. And again, if you're feeling lazy, tired, don't try to overcome it by putting on a pair of shoes and going running, doing sports. No, you're supposed to go slow. Ashtamasani, Sani has got his own hold on you. You're supposed to go slow, so take things slow. Go for a walk, brisk walk. If you want to go for a quick sprint, that is fine. Don't overdo it going for a marathon, half marathon, because Sani will hit your legs and make you slow down even further. Don't speed with your car, right? These are the natural things you should do. Let it work itself out. Just hang in there, right? You may also get issues from authorities. Can be your boss, can be the government, police, court. Court cases may come your way. Do not create any court cases for yourself. Do not get into a litigation matters now. You will lose. So I guess that covers it. That's my analysis for you guys. So again, if you'd like to reach out to me, have a consultation with me, it's fine. You have my details. You have my email address in the notice below. So feel free to drop me a line, comment, recommendation, what have you, your thoughts, advice, anything is welcome. Like this video, hate this video, dislike it, it's all good, it's all fine. I would love to improve myself with your feedback. So I wish you all a great 2021 and hang in there. We are going to have some good times. So stay safe with the COVID situation. Stay strong, stay sharp, and fight the good fight, everyone. All right, take care and good night.